Episode 8 The Doctor Who Studied Me. Part 1 The Beautiful Lie. What is domination? It's not always about whips and chains. Sometimes it comes wrapped in a warm voice, a soft smile, and the words, "I just want you to rest." Domination isn't aggression. It's the ability to slip inside your framework so gently that you no longer feel where your boundary was. And then you fall silent because you think it was your own choice. But the truth is, you were studied. Hi, my name is Mia. I worked as a webcam model for 2 years, and like many girls, I didn't come only for the money. I was alone, hungry for warmth, meaning, touch, and yes, I truly believed I might find something real here. One man, not for play, for life. There were many men on the site, some blunt to the point of vulgarity, some sweet but hollow, and some dangerously charming. Sometimes you read a message and you just know. This isn't just another viewer. This is someone who knows how to read weakness, knows where to look, knows when to wait. And those men? They're not after sex, they're after power. The kind that starts with, "You seem tired tonight. Maybe we can just sit in silence." I worked in a studio. There was a contract, a schedule, 9 hours a night in front of the camera. It didn't matter if there were clients. Didn't matter how I felt. Didn't matter if I could barely keep my eyes open. My job was to be on screen, to be available. So when someone noticed I was exhausted and just paid for me to log off and rest, it didn't feel like a gift. It felt like grace. Michael was one of those people. He appeared quietly. Late at night, I was half asleep and suddenly, a notification. Michael paid for 2 hours of rest. No message, no demand, just permission to disappear. That wasn't flirting. That was awareness, presence. And I didn't know then that this was all part of the construction. He came back a few days later, young, 35th, a surgeon, studying psychotherapy on the side. Smart, composed, dangerous, but gracefully so. You seem like someone I could just be with. No filters, no act. With you, I don't want to play. I want to stay, as long as you're only mine. He started showing up every evening. He sent flowers, listened, sometimes just stayed silent while I sat there, exhausted. He praised my modesty, said things like, "Most people are used to instant porn, but you're like a locked door. No one wants to break it down. They want to be let in." And it worked. I laughed, I blushed, I softened. Because he never rushed, never pushed. He just built a space that felt like everything was possible. You're not a fetish, you're an addiction. Quiet, gentle, but without you, I start to feel withdrawal. We talked about everything. Family, childhood, dreams. He turned on his camera, showed me his home, promised to visit, talked about a real date. I knew, of course, that maybe it was all a fairy tale, but I wanted to believe, because he seemed like someone who really saw my soul. What I didn't know was that he wasn't building a relationship. He was building control. Delicately, professionally, like a surgeon, like a researcher, and maybe I was just his practice subject. Part 2, Beyond Consent. Some men demand, some beg, and some, like Michael, never ask at all. They build a space around you where you start wanting things you once swore you never would. I had one rule, clear and firm. Only my future husband will ever see me completely naked. I could tease, I could dance, I could be sensual, but there was a line, firm, sacred, mine. Some men left when they heard it, some tried to bargain, but Michael, he just smiled. Honestly, that's kind of sweet. A little old-fashioned, but you know what I'd love? To be your exception. He never pressured. He waited. One night he said, "When you blush, it's like waving a white flag, and I don't want to invade. I just want to watch you untie it yourself." He spoke gently, carefully, like he knew exactly where to place his fingers, not on my body, but on my fears. I started blushing on cue, laughing to cover the unease, agreeing to his casual suggestions just to avoid seeming cold. He never got angry. He just disappeared for hours, sometimes days, then came back with flowers, with softness, with the voice that said, "Sorry, long day, but you're always here for me, right?" It wasn't rage, it was velvet. He never punished, he just withdrew affection until I fell back into place. I want to see the part of you no one else gets. You can leave your panties on. It's not about them. I'm after what's under your skin. No pressure, but you know you're already mine. And I started to believe it, that I was different, that he was patient, that he deserved something from me no one else had. He knew when to disappear, when to say, "You're special," when to spark jealousy. "Having fun with that other guy? He just wants a naked body. I want you." Then came the gift. Then came the rest time. Then came the declarations. And I found myself thinking, maybe I could, maybe just once. For him. Only now do I see. It wasn't for him. It was for his sense of control. He didn't want to see my body. He wanted to break the rule, to see what remained after my line disappeared. Part 3. The submission. Almost a year had passed. Michael had become part of my routine, my screen, my breath, my rhythm. When he appeared, I straightened up. When he vanished, I stared at the silence, waited, wondered, wilted. He became my knight, officially. Big tips, long sessions, rest paid for, status, special. He knew when my head hurt. He knew when I was surviving on coffee. He knew when to say nothing, just turn on his camera and be there. And I was ready to break the rule, not because he asked, he didn't. He just created a world where not doing it felt like rejection. You're already mine, not in the mirror, but inside. You've already undressed for me. I'm not asking. I just need to know you're fully mine. Every part he promised to visit, said he had a ticket, sent a photo, champagne glass, plain window, messaged, soon, but just for us, okay? And I believed him. I picked out a dress, got my nails done, booked a hotel, virtually, yes, but it felt so real my heart physically reacted. And then he disappeared. No goodbye, no warning, just vanished. I messaged him, at first gently, then worried, then just a dot, every day. A week later, he returned, as if nothing had happened. Work was hell. You get it, right? Don't be mad. And that's when I knew. I wasn't a woman to him. I was a variable. He had pushed me to the edge, measured my breath, tracked the flicker in my voice when I was about to cave in. He didn't leave because he was busy. He left because the experiment was complete. I wasn't a lover. I was data. He watched me like a subject. Trust, longing, shame, fear. He pressed the buttons, and I responded exactly as expected. And yes, I was ready to break the rule for him. And in the moment I whispered yes, he was already gone. Part 4. The break. After he came back, I tried to act normal, gentle, calm, no blame, like nothing had happened. He joked, he showed up again. He wrote, "You know you're the only one for me, right?" And I stared at the screen, silent, not because I had nothing to say, but because none of it meant anything anymore. He never explained, never apologized, never acknowledged that he disappeared at the exact moment when I was at my most open. He just resumed, like it was a pause movie, like I hadn't shattered in between. But I had. Something inside me didn't ache anymore. It just went still. He didn't vanish because he was overwhelmed. He vanished because the test was over. And so I left. No speech, no tears. I just logged off and never came back. Months passed. I almost forgot. Almost. Until one day I stumbled across his real profile. Same face, same voice, same calm smile, and a caption. "Weekend with my queen." In the photo, him and his wife, smiling, wine glasses, a house with a view. He'd been married the whole time, while promising to visit, while pushing me past my limits, while playing his game. He had a real queen, a real life, and suddenly it all clicked. He wasn't a manipulator. He was a liar with a psychology degree. He didn't love, he studied. With precision, with patience, with practice. I wasn't the first, I won't be the last. I was just convenient. Convenient enough to see if someone like me could be broken. And yes, I almost broke. Almost, but not fully. Because now, when I look into the camera, I don't search for eyes that will save me. I look into myself, and I see something living. He wanted control. He almost had it. Almost. And you? Was there someone in your life who lifted you up so high just to watch you fall? And if there was, tell me, how did you learn to trust again?